Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to tell you about some recent news. So the first one is about this new package of military aid from the United States to Ukraine. So let's get into it. This package is worth around 270 US dollar, 270 US million dollars. So they're sending apparently 4 more HIMARS and some rockets for the HIMARS, and apparently up to 580 these ghost drones and 36,000 rounds of artillery ammunition for the M777 howitzers. So that's the summary of this, and as you know, this comes from the funds, so this is not like a new aid. This is from the original 40 billion aid package that they approved in May. So up to the moment they have included 8.2 billion of those. And if you remember, there were some reports about some HIMARS launchers that were destroyed recently, and we continue to see this escalation on military aid from United States, including even intelligence and satellite information for targeting. So if this is not considering being a party to the conflict, I don't know what it is. They even say that they haven't set foot, US troops haven't set foot in Ukraine, but they still have their trainers and veterans and all kinds of labels that used to justify their collaboration to Ukraine, but they say they're not officially there, no? So that's the hypocrisy of the United States. So recently it's been mentioned that Ukraine is planning to make it a crime to take a Russian passport, and this comes from this lady Irina Vereshchuk, who is the Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Reintegration of the temporarily occupied territories. So she is the one who reported this, and well, it is going to be criminal to have a Russian passport for Ukrainians. So that's as you know, this comes from the recent changes in the law that the Russian President Vladimir Putin declared that any Ukrainian citizen, no matter where he is living, is able to request a Russian passport. So this is retaliation from that. So let's see how it goes. And this is a very sad story. In Estonia, they accuse a Russian trucker, of buying commercial drones to help elite Russian airborne troops. So this is a photo that apparently he posted in his BK, Bekontakte. So he bought apparently 3 small quadcopters. That's what he bought. Those are the ones that you saw here in the photo. And apparently he was sentenced to 4 months in prison, and also 2 other people were convicted because they helped him to buy this, and it is estimated he used his own money as well as funds from an online fundraiser, and then he tried to transport them to Russia, but it was there. Someone found it, and it is speculated that they found information from his online account in BK where he posted the photos, and the other two guys were given 5 months suspended sentences, and they were fined. So I think somehow they were lucky, because I was taking a look at this article 91.1 of the Estonian Criminal Code, which I'm going to show you now. And this goes into Division 3, offenses against peace. And it says basically 91.1, participation in the management, execution, or preparation of an act of aggression, controlling or directing the activities of the state, or threatening with an act of aggression by a representative of the state is punishable by 8 to 20 years imprisonment or life imprisonment. And according to this article, it says, for the purposes of this code, an act of aggression is the use of armed force by one state in conflict with international law against another state. So that is a very, very broad definition, but I think they are using it to qualify anything as aid to Russia in this case. And I was curious to see this second article here, because I think it is very relevant, especially for YouTube content creators. So they have this article 92, propaganda for war, and it says any incitement to war or other use of arms in violation of the generally recognized principles of international law is punishable by a pecuniary punishment or up to 3 years imprisonment. So if you create some content, some video, and someone makes some kind of report that you're advocating for war or some kind of thing, you're inciting war, or you're inciting the use of arms or anything, it is very, very vague. You could go to prison in Estonia, for example, and we recently know about some lady journalist who was apparently accused of some things in Germany because of her reporting, and she didn't do anything, but she was already sentenced to some nasty actions in Germany. So I think this is very dangerous, I think, in my opinion, because it is so broad that even the wording of what you're saying in YouTube or in any other platform. I mean, I mentioned YouTube because it's one of the most popular. But in any video platform that you post something, your opinion, they can say, "Oh, you're inciting to war. You go to prison." So this is really, really dangerous in my opinion. So right now, even being a YouTuber is dangerous. So that's it. That's the state of affairs at the moment. And this one says, Japan sounds the alarm over Ukraine and Taiwan, and this is, of course, more hypocrisy. He says, Tokyo is also concerned about the relationship developing between Moscow and Beijing. So they say Russia has made moves to strengthen cooperation with China, such as through joint bomber flights and joint warship sales involving the Russian and Chinese militaries, as well as moves to portray such military cooperation as a strategic coordination. But they are worried about this, but when they do their military exercises, nobody should worry about it. There's nothing to worry, there's nothing to see. So if the Russian and Chinese get together, then the world should be, concerned. He was saying that Tokyo warned that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine ran the risk of sending the message that unilateral changes to the status quo by force are acceptable. Really? Yeah, and what is the United States doing all over the world, unilaterally changing the status quo everywhere they go? So this is just hypocrisy. I'm not advocating, again, for any use of force or any invasions or any acts of war. I'm always saying and repeating that I'm in favor of peace, but it's just plain hypocrisy. The United States has been advocating and promoting and executing acts of aggression to everyone in the world. They have invaded almost every single country in the world, but if another country does it, they say, oh, this is unacceptable. Really. But the United States is the dope piece, of the world, is for peace, is the most peaceful nation in the world. And this one is a very interesting news. Is coming from Ukraine. Apparently, this guy, they didn't let him get inside Ukraine, and they confiscated his passport. So the name of the guy is Gennady Korban, and this is a political move, but it is interesting because now the guy cannot even go back to where he was. I think this was in the border with Poland. So it is significant because now the guy is basically impossible to move anywhere. And they say that there are some reports that they say Zelensky issued a decree stripping high-profile Ukrainians of their citizenship. And they are speculating that maybe even Igor Kolomoisky, which, if you remember, he was buddies with Zelensky. Apparently he was also in this list, but it is only rumors. It's impossible to see this list because it's a secret list. But Kolomoisky, he was, how to say, related to this guy Korban, so they were working together, and now they are targeting politicians who are not in their side, or even maybe former friends or former collaborators. So they just mentioned this part of the constitution of Ukraine. They say that the authenticity of the decree, however, has been questioned given that Ukraine's constitution explicitly prohibits stripping anyone of citizenship. So it is like that, and it's just more strange action from the Zelensky government. Remember that he recently said that there was a lot of treason within Ukraine, so I don't know if this is part of that. Maybe he's also qualified as a treasonous person, traitor, whatever they say he is. And the last one is this news that this grain deal export thing was signed. I don't know how is this going to work really, because I think even recently, I think when Vladimir Putin was in Iran, he says that he won't execute this deal unless sanctions were removed about Russian grain. So I don't know how is this going to work. So if you're not familiar with the deal, the summary of it is that Ukraine will escort vessels with grain out of Ukraine into the ports, and there will be supervision by Turkey and the United Nations. Turkey's role will be to ensure that no weapons are smuggled in all the vessels that are going to Ukraine. And Russia's deal is to, promise that they will not attack the ports, or they will not attack the vessels coming and going. And that's pretty much it. So we will see how it goes. So let me know what you think about all this news, and as always I want to remind you of the opportunity to support my work through the different platforms. I include in the description of every video different options that you can use to help me with donations. You can also help my work by liking this video, sharing it in social media, and subscribing to the channel. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.